Well, hey everybody, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. There are a lot of different directions I could actually take this video if I wanted to talk about former President Barack Obama's little swipe at President Trump. I could do that. I could also get into what different Democrats and Republican responses have been to the mass shootings that occurred over the weekend, one in El Paso, the other in Dayton, Ohio. But I won't get into all of that. We have the rest of the week to talk about those, unfortunately. But what I'm going to spend a little bit of time on in this video is the big question that everyone seems to ask, and I guess everyone seems to point fingers at. The big question is why? Why do these things happen? Why do we keep having mass shootings? I think there are a couple of different reasons. And obviously what happened in El Paso, different, I think, than what happened in some other shootings. The El Paso mass shooter was a racist. He was a racist who hated people who were not white. The so-called Hispanic invasion of Texas, which is stupid because Mexico and Texas have been like this throughout history. I mean, you know, this guy obviously did not know the history of Texas, did not understand the history of Texas. He was a racist. He was a bastard, is a bastard. Is a racist and should be tried as a racist. He wanted to disrupt what the government was doing. He was using political threats. He is the very definition of a terrorist, the very definition of a racist. What happened in Dayton, Ohio, I record this right now, we still don't know all the details why this guy who was crazy, to some degree at least, decided to go and shoot up a group of citizens who are outside a bar. Well, we still don't know. There are so many different reasons why people commit mass shootings, in my opinion, but I think it goes back to one thing. And I know I'm going to tick off some folks on this one, but the gun isn't the reason. All right. I know some of you out there hate guns. You want gun control. You want to prevent people from buying an AR-15. I own an AR-15. I know a lot of people who own AR-15s and they've never blasted a bunch of innocent civilians away. This to me, it's not because of video games. Okay. Can video games be a contributing factor to a person who is depraved already? Absolutely. So can YouTube. So can different websites that are out there on the internet. This goes back, at least for me, and what I think that we are seeing. It goes back to people who are losers, people who are loners, people who don't have a life, people who, for whatever reason, have struggled throughout their life and they have never sought acceptance. They have never, they have never wanted to be part of the crowd or whatever it may be. They don't have friends. They don't have family. They don't care about family. Now, listen, this isn't every single person, and this isn't every single person who, you know, wants to be removed from reality. But it seems like most of these shooters want to be removed from reality. They don't like reality. They don't like their life. They don't like the hand they've been dealt. They've been either rejected or felt rejected from life. And they see on social media or other places that everybody else is having a great time in the world. When we all know that's not true. Everyone has a bad day, bad week, a bad month. Everybody goes through crap. Just no one posts about that on social media. Or if they do, they are usually told, don't air your dirty laundry on Facebook or on Twitter. Some people can handle life, some people can't. I think another thing that we see with a lot of these shooters, and it's not every case out there, but in a lot of these cases, these people come from fatherless homes. They don't have a strong male role model. And when we're talking about young men, those who are in their late teens, early 20s, even, you know, up to 30 years old, these are the guys who are carrying out these mass shootings. Did they have a strong male presence in their life? Someone to tell them, you know, smack them upside the head and say, snap out of it. Okay. that sometimes life is kind of shitty. All right, sometimes life can be a little shitty, but you can get over that. And sorry to those of you who are tuning into this and not used to that type of language, but it's the truth, right? You know, there are so many people who can't handle a bad week, a bad month, a bad year that we have in our society. So there are so many deep issues out there. You know, it's easy to blame the gun. It's easy to blame or so-called rhetoric that is out there. It's easy to blame Trump for everything in the world. It was easy to blame Obama for everything that was going on. Obama was never blamed for mass shootings, by the way. Only Trump is. It goes deeper than that. Some people's minds are just screwed up. Some people's minds are just lost. We've got to help people out when they're younger. When they do come maybe from a fatherless home, or they are a loner. They are somebody who feels rejected by the world. We've got to get involved. We've got to get communities to get involved. We've got to get families to get involved. There's a story here in Lubbock, Texas, where a 19-year-old was planning on carrying out a mass shooting. He was staying at a hotel. He had bought an AK-47. He had lied on his forms, and he's been arrested. But he was going to carry out this attack on a hotel. He told his grandmother that this was what he was planning to do, and the grandma said, I think my grandson is serious. So she convinced him to go to the hospital, and he did so. She stepped in. She realized that her grandson was going through a bad time, a really, really bad time. And she saved his life, and she saved I don't know how many other people's lives by doing just a family thing, a grandmotherly type thing of helping out her grandson. She's a hero, and we need more people like that. We need more friends like that to help us out if we feel down, to listen to people's cries of help. We need that more in America. I know for some people, they don't like the whole thought and prayers type deal, but prayer works. We can be honest about that. Now, for some of you who aren't believers, you may not believe it, but I've seen it. Prayer works. When it comes to guns, you can ban all the guns you want to. You can say that the AR-15 is no longer going to be sold in America. You can say assault rifles are horrible and that weapons of war don't belong on the streets. By the way, there are very few weapons of war out on the streets. You can say all of that, but it's not going to get rid of guns. You got Mexico out there. Mexico, the Mexican president is saying that the U.S. needs to revisit gun laws here. Mexico has very strict gun laws, and I don't think you want to walk through Mexico by yourself right now because the cartels will come after you. Listen, we've got guns in America. Like it or not, we've got guns in America. We need responsible gun owners in America, and we need responsible parents and responsible communities to help these troubled young men out. It's not troubled young women who are carrying out these mass shootings. It's troubled young men that are carrying it out. And I happen to believe that there were warning signs leading up to these massacres that if somebody had paid attention, they maybe would have been prevented. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a little bit more on this. And we'll also talk about some of the other, I guess, the blame game, if you want to call it that. And then also later on this week, how Texas Tech may, well, I don't know, be impacted by the latest mass shootings. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO.